Hey, howdy, hey, my brewing brothers and sisters. I'm your host, Jamil Zanishev, and you're listening to Brew Strong. Today with me are my friends, Brian Ogden. He's owner and brewer of Attaboy Brewery in Maryland, and his head brewer, Steve Bartholomew. Both these guys actually worked for me back in the day at Heretic. And here we are now. You're on the East Coast running a fine brewery. And tell us a little bit about how you got started.
Yeah, sure. I'm Brian. That's Steve. Wife and I started Attaboy Beer here in 2016. Prior to that, we worked for Heretic Brewing, the esteemed Heretic Brewing. I had actually spent a few years trying to get a brewing job, and they were the only ones with low enough standards to hire me. And finally got in there and was able to kind of just learn from the best. So we did that for a while, and then our family kind of beckoned us from the East Coast, and we ended up in Maryland. And it's just easy to start a brewery. Easy peasy.
Yeah,
There's nothing hard about that at all.
couple of bucks.
Yeah, a couple bucks. No blood, sweat, or tears at all.
Couple of pieces of paper you got to file, and there you
go. A few huge loans.
Yeah, so it sounds like you guys are doing great out there. I have not had a chance to visit, but I'd love to.
Yeah, you got to get out here. Yeah, so the first 4 years, I was brewing every beer we did here. I had a few different people working with me assistance wise, and then finally I was lucky enough to have you guys connect me with Steve over here, and he was on the East Coast as well, and I convinced him to move up here to Frederick, Maryland with us, and he got here and promptly kicked me off the brew deck. And
it's like, here, let's make the beers better.
Yeah.
First step.
First, let's introduce a little bit of competence here. So
the two guys here who the only people I could find to give me a job in the brewing industry. So
yeah, we did get around, but both you guys were wonderful to work with, and I think I learned something from you, and hopefully you learned something from me as well.
Well, yeah, that was part of the easy thing with bringing Steve on, is we kind of spoke the same language standards wise, and it was like this kind of logic around procedures and quality, and we both had the exact same standard. And I think in brewing, there's a million ways to skin a cat. Every brewery does something really different, and you don't know why. Steve and I kind of had this exact same base, and it's easy for us to communicate because we're on the same exact kind of wavelength. And that's been an easy transition. When he came in here, within a few weeks, it was like, yep, that's easy. This is a perfect fit. So
it's Heretic roots.
Yep, those Heretic roots.
Cool. I'll tell you, I got to mention our fine sponsor, Blickman Engineering, and my good friend, John Blickman. I think, they have a great standard of quality as well. There's a number of people in the industry that I think really, live up to, the promise of quality. And John Blickman's one of them. He's been sponsoring this show for 15 plus years. So nobody has to pay for it but him. So if you appreciate it and you're listening and you enjoy this stuff, make sure to reach out to Blickman Engineering. You can send an email to feedback@Blickman Engineering, and that goes straight to John Blickman. And just tell him what you think of the show. It's the least you could do. If you're getting something of value from this, you could send out that email and just say hi, tell them thank you. It's definitely appreciated. I started with your Backyard Hero, your Czech lager, 4.7%. For those of you who have got video or watching the video, real nice Czech lager. Tell me a little bit about it.
We did all Bohemian Pilsner malt on that one. To back it up a little bit, we here at Heretic. We here at Heretic. We here at Attaboy.
Heretic East.
Yeah, we started. It's still in the tank. We started. Our main thrust has been hoppy beers and Belgian styles. Those are kind of our passions here, and so we didn't open up with a lager, and so about 2 years ago, pretty much right when Steve started, we started messing around with lagers, and it's been a pretty cool exploration for us in terms of, learning the styles, learning these different yeasts. I mean, we were pretty much a Chico, 1 and 3, like basic brewery. So we've kind of like had a lot of cool learning with these different lager yeasts. So this is actually the first time we've done a Czech Pils. So, we've done German Pilsner, we've done Helles, we have an American lager. So this is our first swing at a Czech Pils. So we have a Bohemian Pilsner malt on that, and then all Saaz hops.
All right.
Kind of difficult to source. I guess I had a bad crop year. So
for a first swing, it shows you guys are swingers. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's real nice. And at 4.7%, super easy drinking.
Yeah. We've generally been using 3470 a lot. This beer, this yeast didn't attenuate as far as we, with 3470, but like we also like a good 4.7. Like it finished at this beer started at 12 Plato, ended at 3.4. So nice easy drinker, but yeah, so it's pretty we're pretty happy with it so far. So
what did you say the hops were?
All Saaz, all
Saaz?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it was tough because we don't brew this beer continuously. We don't necessarily have contracts for Saaz. So it was trying to find Saaz this past year has been it's been a little tough. So
all right. What size is the brew plant there?
So we have a 10-barrel system with 4 20s and 3 10s. And then we have a pilot system, a little 1-barrel pilot with two barrel fermenters. So
yeah,
we actually added those that little system the past summer, or a year and a half ago, or a year ago, actually, as a kind of a fun, little playground for us when we're not, doing the bigger runs. Nice.
Well, and one of the things I want to talk to you guys about is your Cold IPA, and that's become quite the buzzword. So we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, I want to hear your thoughts about Cold IPA and how to make a great one right after this. All right, we're back. We're talking with Brian Ogden, Steve Bartholomew of Attaboy Brewing in Frederick, Maryland. They were kind enough to send me a selection of beers. Actually, it's because I kicked Steve's butt in football that you had to send me the beer.
Like 4 out of the last 5 years in a row, something like that. Champion.
I think 5 out of the last 8.
Well, hey, I didn't have such a great year there, but I did win the Attaboy League. So
yeah, oh, there you go.
Yeah,
see. Anybody that plays in our league could probably win other leagues. That's the thing. We got a bunch of intense players that tend to win. I didn't think I was going to win this year at all. I thought I was just like, I need to stay off of the bottom. And then Travis looked like he was going to hit the bottom, and so I gave him Pollard from the Cowboys, and saved his season, pulled him right back up, and then it made it even worse for me. I thought there's no way I'm definitely gonna be last, and then somehow I won. I don't know.
Yep, and your team won the Super Bowl, so you're good.
Yes. And I actually was at the Super Bowl.
Did you really go?
Nice.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
My wife was telling me, she's like, you should go, because it's been a dream of mine to go to the Super Bowl. So I waited till the very last minute. I flew out on Saturday, and I got everything on Saturday at the last minute. And, it was quite the experience. So intense that I don't even remember a lot of it. My wife, she was asking me, did you stay and see the ceremony where they award the trophy? I'm like, I don't know. I don't remember. I look on my phone and there's photos of it. I'm like, well, yeah, I was there.
You're having so much fun with Jay-Z.
Just couldn't
Jay-Z and Jay-Z were hanging out.
Yeah. All right. So this is your Cold Fox, which is a Cold IPA, 7% right there. Tell me, what is a Cold IPA? I still don't really
Are you
understand.
snickering while yeah, look at that guy. Look, he's just laughing at us. So yeah, the idea is we're using, and we're using a lager yeast, fermented slightly warmer than our lagers. We usually do 50, 52 degrees. We do this beer at 60. We did about 35% flaked corn. And then we kind of approached the whole beer as an IPA. We kind of built the bitterness in. I haven't had a lot of IPLs in my life, so I kind of want to get into like a whole style.
Yeah, what's the difference between an IPL and a
It
Cold
sounds better.
IPA?
It sounds better.
I mean, there's the adjunct, there's the corn, which lightens up the body and really, helps bring out the hops.
I mean, do IPLs ferment at 60, or do they go? Right. Or they more at 50? Who knows? I mean, I think we can sell a Cold IPA better. We can sell it at IPL.
Yeah. Okay.
How's that?
Is there any agreed upon standard? I keep asking every brewer that has a Cold IPA.
Well, I can tell you,
a Cold IPA.
I can tell you this:
we fermented it cold.
A Cold IPA sells way better than a hoppy lager.
Yes, I would imagine.
Yeah. So I'm in the business to sell, but no, it's quickly. I mean, I know people historically are making IPAs with lager yeast for a long time, and not even talking about it, which is, that's great. It's actually what I learned, what I didn't really realize with this style is that you always think of Chico as being so neutral, but it's not really that neutral. Chico isn't I always thought of it as Chico's the most neutral, but get a good lager yeast in there. It really lets those hops be front and center, just out of the way. And it has no crystal, we have a little bit of carafoam, dextrin, because we're worried about head retention. But past that, it's just, Pilsner malt. And
can you give us a recipe on this? Is there Simcoe in this?
This is a Mosaic Strata, and what was the dry hop? Oh, Mosaic Idaho 7.
Idaho 7. Oh yeah. Wow. It's fantastic. I really like it.
Nice. Yeah, it's this beer has quickly become a favorite in the in the tap room with the staff, and
because it's a Cold IPA.
This is the Cold IPA. I mean,
who wants a warm IPA?
Right? It's disgusting. But I mean, it's a testament. It ties in sales with our New England IPA. So
now I gotta imagine it was Steve that was like, "Come on, let's brew a Cold IPA."
This was all Brian.
Oh, really?
This is all Brian.
Because
I never heard this style. He was the one who first brought it up. He was like, "Have you ever had a Cold IPA?" I'm like,
"Oh yeah."
Yeah, generally I drink my IPAs cold.
It's cold.
Well, we never even tasted the style before we tried brewing it. But that's the fun of having a little brewery. Yeah, is just trying stupid stuff.
Yeah, we first did it on the pilot, and it was a big hit. So
yeah, right. That was the biggest thing that come out of the pilot so far. That's the fun of having a tiny, homebrew size system, is you can make some big swings, and there's a lot of stinkers that have come through, but then you get a good, this Cold IPA is sold great. So
you make those big swings. Yeah, you're big swingers. Yes.
A lot of swinging going on here. A lot of swinging. We got a lot of swinging time out in Frederick, Maryland. So we got to do something with it.
All right. So what's the recipe on this?
Okay. So yeah, we used raw premium pills at 57%, flaked corn 35%, carafoam, Environment and carafoam at 5%, raw dextrin at 2%, and then we use rice hulls because we have all that corn in there. Steve can tell you about mashing in with a flaked corn is a little tricky.
Corn clumps up like crazy, so the rice hulls are very helpful.
He weaves it in as he's going, mixing it as he goes to not create big just corn snowballs in there.
Just wants to create big clumps. So
and then what was the mash temp on that?
150.
150.
Going
And
dry.
And then how long a boil did you do?
We're 60 on everything at this point. We're not, we don't do anything at 90 anymore. We're not seeing any DMS on anything. So everything's 60 here.
Okay. And then hopping?
Hopping, we did a warrior bittering. I don't have the IBU contribution on those, but we did a warrior bittering and a 10-minute edition of Mosaic, and then Whirlpool Mosaic Strata. In terms of hard for us to translate. I could have done some math ahead of time to kind of explain that better.
Total of 60 IBU, and most of it coming from the warrior bittering.
There you go.
And then what about the what about the size of those editions in 10 barrels?
At 10 barrels, we did 960 grams of warrior. We did 2,070 grams of Mosaic at 10 minutes. The 10-minute Mosaic edition is really nice. We feel like the whole kind of blueberry thing comes out. The fruity nature of Mosaic kind of comes out with that nice 10-minute edition. And then Whirlpool Mosaic Strata. Mosaic Strata were equal parts 1,300 grams.
Then you're fermenting this with the lager yeast, so 3470.
Generally, we've done it with 3470, but part of the idea of this beer was also to kind of dovetailed with our freshly conceived lager program here, is that we want to get more life out of that yeast rather than just one lager, out of this. So we had Ondex lager because we have a Helles going. So we have a Helles with Ondex. We wanted to kind of reuse the yeast for something else because those lager pitches are large and fresh and expensive. So we wanted to get more than one beer out of it. So this is actually the first time we've used Ondex for a cold IPA, and it
hasn't made much of a difference.
This one didn't make. I think if you use the Czech lager yeast that didn't attenuate as much, it might have been different. But this one, the Ondex lager is supposed to accentuate the malt character a little bit more.
It's a super clean profile, and even at 62 degrees, 60 or 62 degrees for a lager, it's like I'm not picking up any real esters from it. It could be masked by the hops, but
we blasted it with hops. So,
and then what was your fermentation profile on it?
62 degrees, let it rise up to 65 at the end to kind of knock out diacetyl, and then we dry hopped with some scribbles here. 15,000 Mosaic.
15,000 pounds of Mosaic.
15,000 grams.
We go grams around here.
We're all metric. No, I wish we were all metric. 15,000 Mosaic, Strata at 10,000, and then Idaho 7 at 5.
And was that all just one addition at the end of fermentation? Or?
That's 3 different additions. So
triple
dry hop here, dude. TDH. That always makes me crazy. DDH, like every hoppy beer at Heretic we had was double dry hopped.
We just try to spread it out a little bit. We have have the time.
Give it time. And we have like those nice hopper on top of our fermenter. We have the hop doser, so we can minimize any kind of oxygen ingress into the tank. So
nice.
So it's a very controlled. We obviously worry about DO with this. So yeah.
And so I think this turned out really good. What would you say to people wanting to brew a great cold IPA? What's the most important thing to look out for? Is it the fermentation and the lager yeast, or is it?
Well, yeah, you want to get you don't want that yeast expressing any estery kind of compound. So you want it's as a homebrew, you want to build up a good starter. You want to make sure you're handling your yeast well. You want to make sure you're buying a yeast book and really understanding yeast.
Right. In temperature control, 62, so you can kind of do that in the colder months, maybe without some serious
Right.
control measures. But and then yeah, make sure you use some rice hulls if you're using all that flaked corn. But yeah, so as far as gravity, we started at 14.5 Plato and dried out to 1.7, so pretty dry.
Nice. Yeah.
Oh, I think that's definitely key, is really good strong fermentation, just like every other beer. Just
I think a good dry finish means the world in a lot of these beers.
Yeah.
That's the hops pop.
Exactly. It's just, the idea is just, laser focused on the hop profile. Like that's it. Like nothing else in there messing around with it. So, but yeah, I know, like we were having an argument in the parking lot last night with someone. You were talking to him earlier, like, what is this? What's an IPA? I'm like, I don't know, man. It's good. It tastes good. Who cares? It's delicious.
Yeah, it is delicious. I really, and the reason I mentioned Steve before, like Steve would be the instigator of this, is because he was the instigator of getting Heretic to brew a hazy New England IPA.
Really? He was the guy.
He was the guy right there.
And
meanwhile, this guy doesn't even like love hazy.
I'm a West Coast beer guy, but hey, we're gonna try it out there. It was also Ben Edwards. He was pushing too, so
it became one of our most successful beers ever.
Of course, yeah.
We sold.
So I don't know if it's still, but that was Chico fermented, right? That
we started with that, and then we kept shifting and trying to get, we got a good haze off of the Chico strain.
Yeah.
But it just wouldn't last as long. And so we were getting some sedimentation. So we switched to Imperial Brewing's juice. We tried the White Labs, London Fog. We tried several of them, and a lot of them just did not attenuate as well as the Chico strain, and we still wanted the attenuation.
Well, yeah, what attenuates as well as Chico? Like, and that's tough.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, so since the yeasts were a lot of British yeast derived, a lot of them don't attenuate very well.
Yeah.
But the Imperial juice, if you feed it a ton of oxygen, it will attenuate. And it was important to us because we were also doing, double hazy and triple hazy.
Yeah.
And so it did that. And then I completely redid the water and completely redid the grist. I redid everything from the nobody ever said anything, but the beer got better and better and better.
And there was a decent amount of bitterness in that beer too, right? So it wasn't like some of these hazy beers that have absolutely zero.
Right. And then we started centrifuging it too. So it all gets centrifuged and it just has a permanent haze that lasts forever. That we really got it dialed in. It took some doing, but after a couple of years of brewing it, I think we got it just perfected.
So you increased the amount of oxygen you were giving it?
Yeah, we juiced it to like 20 parts per million.
Yeah,
really went heavy.
In the past year, we've gotten a better oxygen meter, and we've kind of focused on different yeast strains and what they need in terms of oxygen. And that's one of the things is we've, on London 3, we're, jacking it up a bit, in terms of how much oxygen we send into that. Like,
right.
That's one of the, like, we're always kind of tweaking and, we're nerdy homebrewers. So we're just like, we're always messing with something. We're like, if you're brewing a beer where you're not trying something new, like what do you do? Like, let's figure out something to make it better.
Yeah. The cool thing about that beer is it's so popular. We were brewing like 220 barrel tanks a week, so, or, a little over a week. And so I had lots of chances to just mess with it. And
that's amazing. Like we're making we have like 6 times a year we can hit one. We're like, all right, but like meanwhile, your water source has changed. Like your ambient temperature in here swings a lot. Like there's a lot of different things you're not like able to,
Yeah, there's something nice about getting those reps and doing this here over and over again. And
well, and I was able to have Andrew brew. I tell him just brew a 30 for me of, with these changes. And then, we taste it side by side with the ongoing 120 barrel batches.
Yeah.
And then if we liked it or didn't, we would implement those changes, and then we would just blend that 30 into the 120.
Blend it back. Yeah, totally. Like that's
so you never notice the changes are very subtle, but I was really pleased with how that turned out. Really turned out to be a great beer.
That's the whole fun of this whole thing, is like all these silly little tests you can do,
Right.
Maybe not everyone cares about, but we do.
they care about it when they drink it.
Right.
I tell you, if you want to brew a great cold IPA, if you need any help improving your brewing, check out our good friends Josh and RJ at Brew Chatter, brewchatter.com. They're in Sparks, Nevada, which is right next to Reno. If you ever go to Reno for skiing or for gambling or many of the other things they do, their air shows and stuff, check out Brew Chatter. They're close by. Really great guys. They have a wonderful shop with lots of great fresh ingredients, and they even got a little mini bar in there with I think it's like five or six taps they usually have on, so you can drink local beers and wander the shop all at the same time. Lots of fun. And if you need anything to brew a great cold IPA, they can help you out. Check them out, brewchatter.com. All right, we're gonna take a short break. When we come back, I've got more of your beers that I want to try and more questions about everything you do right after this. All right, we're back talking with the fine folks from Attaboy Brewing in Frederick, Maryland. Now, when you first started, you were trying to start somewhere else, right? Or you had to move, or?
Yeah. We, Carly and I decided to move to Maryland. We figured I had family here. Maryland had actually just did that same year, changed their beer laws where a brewery could serve out of a tap room that previously hadn't been allowed. So it seemed there was very few tap room driven breweries, which our plan was to be a tap room driven brewery, like just a little place. We're not going huge, just serve our community. So we looked at DC or Baltimore, and we thought DC seemed like kind of out of the frying pan into the fire for us, because like we had moved from San Francisco where we couldn't afford a house or anything. That's our Guava No Guava New England IPA. That's our biggest selling beer. That's our mainstay here. People buy a ton of it. It's delicious. But yeah, so we decided Baltimore, because Baltimore had clear beer and not clear beer.
Mm-hmm. You do both.
You do
both very well.
So we decided to move to Baltimore because Baltimore had kind of like a cool character to it and had all these cool buildings. We found a place. And to start our brewery, we actually had to like get a huge SBA backed loan to do it. But we couldn't get the loan until we had discrete construction costs to build it. So like we found we had a letter of intent on a property here or in Baltimore, and we used that to get our loan. And then finally, when the loan came through, after we stopped doing cartwheels because we could just do this thing, the property fell through. And they sent us an email like, we are no longer interested in this project. Please don't contact us again. It was like the most ruthless, like cut us off at the knees. We were just like, we'd spent a year in Baltimore finding a place, and it was rough. So we ended up driving all over the state, talking to all these different, they have all these cities have these groups called economic development groups, which kind of help businesses start there, which is like, I'd never understood what these people did. I had no idea, but they're incredibly important for cities. So Frederick, we talked to them. They hooked us up with the wastewater people. They hooked us up with the water people. they gave us all the contacts and people actually called us back. No one in Baltimore had ever called me back on anything. It was like, Frederick's a small town, and we came into this place and we walked around. We like, this is it. This is beautiful. Like, we can like walk to work. It's got a cool downtown. It's got like, the vibe is wonderful. So yeah, we were in love immediately. We lost leverage on our loan negotiation because we just like, this is it. Like, don't tell the agent this is it. Like, there was no ground given on our loan, on our lease terms. So, but yeah, so yeah, we just fell ass backwards into this place, and we never heard of it before, but it's been like the most amazing little town for us. Like, it's, it's got a great community. Like, during COVID, everyone came out and bought our beer and just kept us afloat. Like, as a taproom driven brewery during COVID, if you're, your entire revenue is based on selling glasses of beer, you're going to take a beating. Like, the places that were geared towards selling cans did okay. But like, for us, it was like, we shut down for a while. It's a tough slog. A 10-barrel brewery isn't going to do that great, if they're not selling glasses of beer. So it was, the community supported us through that. And, we love it here.
I tell people to find the right city.
Yeah.
The city that'll work with you, the community that wants you, the place that you'll be a benefit. That's
exactly
so critical.
The zoning people who can work with you. Like, nothing's going to be perfect, but these people can answer you and tell you and work with you.
They can be helpful.
Yes, they can answer a phone call. You may not get the exact answer you want, but they'll answer you, and you'll work with them. And
they'll figure out some way to help you get open. Yeah,
it's amazing the difference that makes.
I was talking to somebody yesterday. They opened their brewery and they're not allowed to do anything. They couldn't do this. They couldn't do that. I'm just like, why did you open there? It's like, well, we found a cheap building. It's like
we've changed. So we've changed. Like, when we moved here and we started up, food trucks were illegal. You couldn't have a food truck.
They couldn't have a food truck.
So, but we talked to our city, and they made it possible for us. You couldn't have kids in a tap room. They wouldn't allow anyone under 21 in there. They changed it for us because we explained what it was, and they were willing to work with us. Like, that's a pretty important thing. Can you imagine like no food trucks or no kids at a brewery? Like, that's a tough, but they worked with us, which is a huge thing.
Well, tell me about this beer, a little bit more about this Guava No Guava.
Yeah.
Why the name?
Yeah, Guava No Guava. We always have to explain to people that there actually is not guava in it. We did actually make a guava guava, where we added guava to it. I mean, it's a little lazy, but we had to do it. Like, grain bill, it's classic NEPA stuff. Wheat, flaked wheat, oats. We like spelt here. Like, I don't know, just a little kind of good quality, good head retention. And it's a Citra Mosaic. Oh, Citra Mosaic. We
Classic. Can't go wrong.
Cheater hops.
Yeah,
some people like to
say. Idaho 7 biotransform. Although we wanted to try a test. We haven't tested the biotransform.
Right. So that's a question I have for you. Have you done any further testing on the, with Make America Juicy or other beers with biotransform versus not?
Right. So, I mean, one of the things we did early on when we did the carboy batches to start, one of them, it was the same wort, right? And one of them had the hops added during fermentation, and the other had the hops added after fermentation. And then we blind tasted people on it, and everyone chose the after fermentation
decision, right? Yeah,
because the other one was just harsh, and it had a bitterness that was unpleasant.
Yeah.
So that's why we went to that. And here's my thinking on it. So we did some other tests and some messing around, and I tried. Here's my theory, and nobody's ever countered me on this. I've never heard anyone say this wasn't correct, but I believe that if you add those hops in the whirlpool, right? You do a cool whirlpool at like 175 degrees Fahrenheit, you throw those hops in, the linalool and geraniol that will biotransform, it's in the wort. It's not going anywhere. You don't have to add all the leafy hop matter
into the fermenter.
You just want the geraniol and the linalool. So that comes out in the whirlpool, and then it gets fermented with the yeast, and biotransformation will happen. And there is a thing, biotransformation is a real thing. You need the right yeast, you need the right, mainly geraniol and linalool, and those will convert, and that'll still happen. You don't need to throw the hops in. And I think what happens when you throw the hops into the fermentation, you're extracting a lot of those tannins and a lot of really bitter, nasty stuff. So we never found any joy putting hops in the fermenter.
Were you guys cool pooling there? Like cool.
Oh, cool pooling. Is that?
It's easier.
You
it's
got
faster,
all the trendy words.
It's faster. That saved me so much time saying that.
Cool pooling. All right. It's actually the first time I've heard the phrase cool pooling. Is that a common thing with all the kids these days?
I mean, I'm 50. I'm almost 50, so I gotta like throw around a lot of lingo to offset my.
That's what we call it. I don't know what anybody else calls it.
I think that's a great name for it. So cool pooling.
But because that would be very attractive to us. Obviously, for yeast reuse, you're like, why? Because we're trying to figure out how to like getting that big liquid pitch of London 3 is expensive, and like,
yes,
if we can kind of like
not dump a bunch of hops into it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So what we would do is ferment out. We'd cool pool all our biotransformation hops, so that the little geraniol was in there in the wort, so biotransformation can happen. And then after it fermented out, we would take our pitch of yeast, and then we would dry hop. And the dry hopping we changed to a recirculation. We
really
had all the dry hops.
Oh wow!
One shot, and then we'd recirculate the tank for 3 hours.
Really?
Pump it from the bottom to the top for 3 hours.
What kind of pump do you use? Diaphragm or just a regular centrifugal?
We were using a diaphragm pump.
Okay.
And we'd pump it around for 3 hours, and then that's it. Let the hops settle back out.
Yeah,
and you're done. And we found that
diaphragm pump.
That extracted
diaphragm pump now.
I don't need any more complications. We have a very simple brew house here. There's no electronics. It's all very bare bones.
It's the dumbest.
You can get a fairly cheap diaphragm pump,
Really?
food grade high temp diaphragm pump off of eBay. That's where I got them.
Really?
Steve will tell you how cheap I am.
Oh, I know how cheap you are. Don't worry.
But and that really, you don't need any more time than that, and it really extracts all the hop goodness without really over extracting the tannins and all that.
Yeah.
And so we do that, and then once it settled, that was it. And then we'd centrifuge.
Would you dump pretty quickly after that, or how quickly would you guys dump after that?
As soon as the hops all fell out, generally we'd wait a day or so, and then just dump that, and then get it over to the centrifuge and then enter a bright. So we found that was absolutely the best extraction, and it turned out to be the quickest as well, which is beneficial commercially.
Back to the cool pool, if you will. Did you bitter that the wort you're putting in the whirlpool? Did you bitter that with hops, or did you do an extract on it? Because like we always worry about jamming up the heat X to cool off the wort.
Right. Yes. So I'd have to check what the last versions were, but we stopped doing any bittering additions in the kettle.
Yeah, we kind of go back and forth on different ones, and we're messing around with some. What do we have here? We have
flex.
we got some flex here.
We'll give it advertisement.
We have some flex that we're trying for, just like, because we do like the bittering. I think there's a certain quality that we really seek is drinkability, and not if you don't have enough bittering, like it's just this like sweet thing that you don't want to have another glass of. Like that's
Right.
like there's places in beer right now that I feel like a lot of beers don't have that drinkability quality, and that's what we're always trying to be drinkable. You want to have a beer that you have two of.
Right.
And
Well, the thing is, you're adding so much hops in the dry hop stage,
yeah,
and it has a ton of bittering to it still.
right, yeah,
It's that whole idea of boiling to get IBUs and all that, and for bittering, it doesn't make sense anymore. You definitely get bittering just from dry hopping.
Right.
Even in some of the like barrel aged stuff that we've done like some dry hops, like barrel aged saison. Like you get that bittering. You can taste it for sure.
Mhm.
Just been sitting on hops for a few days. It's there. At least a perceived bitterness.
Ooh, nice. He's got cherry.
Speaking of which,
we would like to share that beer with you, but we don't have a cold one. And that
Wow.
we don't label our beers usually with masking tape.
Well, that's not too far off from the first Make America Juicy Again labels. Do you remember those with it looked like a postage stamp on the can?
I do. For some reason, I don't have my opener. Let's see here.
So that beer you're gonna try to open has we're trying to use a little bit of local agriculture here. And what Maryland does pretty well is stone fruit. We have good peaches, good cherries. And so we got a local provider here. We did a multi-year blend of a saison, barrel-aged saison with Montmorency cherries from about 45 minutes away. So we were able to get these, and like the beer, we were we can't wait. This one, you have those beers where you're like, I can't wait to release this beer. This is so good. I'm so happy about it.
Let's see if I can get into it here.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. But yeah, we have about a 70 barrel program. So we're able at this point to blend out like a lot of these programs. You have stuff that gets a little bit more, the pH drops a little too far, but we have enough in stock now where we can blend out. So this beer we were able to blend enough like low pH stuff with stuff that's like 3.7 pH that kind of makes it more drinkable. So that's not our branding. That's not, like, my wife would be angry right now.
No, what Steve was referring to was the first batches of Make America Juicy Again. I just took mailing labels, the 1x3 mailing labels, and printed all the information on there. Make America Juicy Again.
Hey, it's delicious. What else do you need?
Just randomly stuck them on cans at whatever angle.
What do you need? It's delicious. Like, you need a bunch of brand on that? Come on.
That's marketing.
People
out. Nobody else's can looks like that.
Right. And people actually appreciate it. I said, look, do you want me to spend, money on, labels or on ingredients for the beer?
Outside the can or inside the can? Come on.
There you go. See, you're a marketing genius. Cool pool, inside, outside.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm not brewing, I better be marketing. So.
Anyways, yeah. People gave us props for that. They're like, yeah, don't spend money on packaging. Let's spend money on the beer.
Oh, that's rad. That's like kind of punk rock, like DIY, like awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the way to go.
Oh, wow. There's quite a Brett character to this too.
Oh yeah. It's a lot of bread here. We do a lot of of heat pasteurization here because we have all that stuff kind of here, like it's all, we don't have a separate area for that. The barrels come in here. We believe in, heat. Heat's important here.
Not a lot of breweries, they kind of look at us like we're crazy when we tell them that we sanitize our tanks with heat. But I mean, that's something we learned from you. But
Right.
it's better than that.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to worry about funk being in your brewery because there's funk in every brewery, and the breweries who think that they can keep everything clean by not doing barrels and barrel aged beers and stuff. It's like, no, the funk's already in your tanks. And if you're not, the thing about heat is even if the cleaning isn't 100% perfect, the heat will still kill everything.
Yep.
Whereas when you have imperfect cleaning, the chemical sanitizing is ineffective.
Yep. It can get into that gasket. Like the heat will hit the gasket, hit each side of it. If there's threads, it can penetrate the thread. Like I feel like I can go to bed at night with heat. Like
I agree. I'm 100% there. Rob was asking, don't you also pick up quite a bit of bitterness in the whirlpool? Well, the whirlpool or the cold pool? In the cold pool, yeah, you do. You still do pick up quite a bit of bitterness. I think you pick up bitterness from hops. If you use enough hops of these modern hops, you pick up bitterness anywhere you use them. It could be cold in the fermenter. It could be in the whirlpool, wherever. You don't need to add in the boil.
What about in the mash? So this morning we had a mash with a bunch of Cascade thrown in.
Cascade mash hop, bro.
Right. Yeah.
There's a distinct hop aroma with the wort like running off. You can smell it. So there's got to be something in there. But
right.
There's got to be. I don't know if it's necessarily
after you've boiled it. Do you smell the hops anymore? After you boiled it for 60 minutes,
the bitterness is still there. Like I don't know.
Right. Yeah, I think you actually get more efficiency, I think, of extracting the bitterness,
right,
than you do if you just add them, or same thing like first wort hopping. It's just really early charge. So I think it's very, very similar. All right, let's do this. Let's take another short break, and when we come back, we'll have more beers and more Attaboy right after this. All right, we're back. Talking with my good friends from Attaboy Brewing in Frederick, Maryland. I got to get out to Frederick and come hang with you guys. It would be a blast.
Yeah, I mean, I saw you were talking to Sapwood a few weeks ago. They're about 45 minutes away, so you could go say hi to Scott and Mike, and come on up here.
Yeah. I was doing a show with Scott Janish, and I'm like, yeah, they're in the same area, because you guys are on you're top of my list when I'm out in that area, and then everybody else. But so I'm like, all right, if I could combine it with a couple nights
in Frederick, we got a lot of breweries here.
Yeah.
It'll be a
good to spend a week there, is what you're saying?
Well, a week. Well,
7 hours.
At Steve's house. You can hang out at Steve's house.
I got a couch for you.
Yeah.
Nice. Let's see here. I got one more beer, which is the Mermaid Blood is blonde ale with hibiscus.
This one's special for you.
This one's special. This is a unintentional Petite Rouge. We made this Belgian blonde ale. It's just before Steve was here. It's a Belgian blonde ale. But I didn't really think it through. It ended up being like very similar to another beer we had on tap at the exact same time. So it was like 1% ABV off. And I'm like, what are we going to do? I had a bunch of hibiscus, and I threw the hibiscus in, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh no, I just made Petite Rouge. I just made the exact beer we used to make. It was literally like down to the exact, like at this point, we're not using the same yeast that we use, but that at that point, it was the same yeast, the same like hibiscus. It was like, oh no, I didn't mean to do that. It was unintentional hackery. But at this point, we've deviated so far from, Petite Rouge that it's like.
So you're saying you're deviants.
Absolutely.
You're swingers and deviants.
Come to Frederick, man. It will take a week, a whole week here.
I think we need to collab on a beer that we'll call Swingers and Deviants.
Swingers and Deviants.
What a great name.
Beautiful.
Steve, get working on a recipe.
All right,
Get going.
we'll do it.
Well, and I also saw, and you and I had chatted about your event space. I was curious how that's working out for you, because it seems like a great idea if you can have a space, attached to your brewery or close to your brewery that you can sell to people.
Yep.
The number of people that asked for space at Heretic was astonishing, and we never really had the ability to monetize it.
Yeah, no, it's sort of an endless thing. Because like we at our main tap room here, we don't do reservations. We don't let anyone rent anything out, because like we would never want to like have someone show up for a beer and be like, oh, sorry, Brett.
Sorry, we're closed. I hate that. Yeah.
No, I never want to have like a customer like, that's not cool,
Right.
man. Like
Yeah.
you just violated this contract you've had with them. So a property came up about 4 years ago that's connected to our building. It's all adjacent. Really cool big wood roof place. And we decided like that'd be great for a barrel aging facility and event space. So now we've doubled our size. We can put our barrels there, and we can have like cool parties, and like, it's a good space to be like we have about 6,700 square feet here. Over there we have 6,300, and it's just like gives you a little bit more room to work with. And yeah, we were able to make it kind of our fancy, high end area. Like all our barrel aged beer, we have a tap room there that's open on Saturdays, and that's more focused on our barrel aged stuff. But yeah, we also have a bunch of events there, parties, weddings, stuff like that.
And is that booking up frequently?
Oh, yeah.
You're making good revenue off
I mean,
of that?
we opened it right when COVID started, so it was great.
Great timing. You are the master of timing.
Oh my God. We're like, oh my God, that's not. We ate it for a bit, but now it's good. Like it's good. We got it. Yeah.
Well, there you go. Hey, what can you say?
Yeah, no, it's nice to have that flexibility, like to have like different parties there and rent it out, and then we can store all our barrels there. There's no way to be able to do that here. So
I will say my favorite of the beers. I like them all. I thought they were all really good. But my favorite has to be the Cold IPA.
It's good. It's good. Who cares about what the exact style is? We don't need to argue about like just like all these things. Like, does it taste good?
It's everything you want out of a West Coast. You get the hops, you get that punch, you get that dankness, and it's just a light-bodied, easy drinking beer.
Hey, it's fruity though. Yeah, I'd say it is fruity. It's
oh yeah.
It's a cross for me between, if you had your eyes closed, it's a cross for me between like a West Coast IPA and a New England.
Well, yeah, we do kind of go toward tropical fruit with a lot of the hoppy stuff too. Like it's not straight pine dank on everything. We definitely have a lot of the hops we use are sort of more in the tropical end of things. Like, but I don't know.
We like it too.
we drink a ton of it. I was drinking a lot in the parking lot after my hockey game last night.
That's the way you guys swing.
Yeah, we do.
All right. Is there anything else people should know about Attaboy Brewing and Frederick, Maryland?
I mean, I think Frederick, Maryland, if anyone's within an hour or two of here, it's a great place to come. You can literally park in our parking lot and visit 5 different breweries within 100 yards.
Oh, wow. Now, were you the first brewery there?
Yeah. Yeah. If we had any money in our pockets, we would have bought property.
All right. And rented out to breweries?
Yeah, no, because we walked in here, it's a revitalizing area adjacent to a downtown area. And like it's walkable to a downtown,
Nice.
industrial, and it's like, and we have a huge parking lot. Like, but we didn't, we had no money. Like we were like, we had enough money for the stainless steel right here, but nothing else. So you park in our parking lot, 5 breweries walking distance. Like, and then 3 or 4 more past, like a mile away. Like it's a great destination for anyone who wants to, have a beer and maybe learn about a little bit of Civil War history.
Nice. All right. Well, so I'm gonna have to book my trip, and we're gonna brew Swingers and Deviants.
Swingers and Deviants. I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you and I can get drunk, and Steve will do all the work.
So
That's pretty much how it was at Heretic.
Right.
That might qualify as making the first. We should do the first stout that's ever been made.
Oh shit! Yeah, we've never done a dark beer.
Brian doesn't brew dark.
No,
beer.
other than our evil twin knockoff.
Well, how dark is that?
I mean, it's mahogany.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, we're gonna go darker than mahogany. We're gonna go deviant dark.
There we go.
All right,
we'll figure something out.
Right.
We're open-minded here, man. Anything you want to do, just come to Frederick, dude.
Come see us.
All right. Thanks so much for taking the time to hang with me, and especially sending me the great beers and the merch you sent as well. Much appreciated. I will wear that proudly for all my swinging and deviant parties. It'll be great. If you're listening and you enjoy this, please make sure to reach out to our sponsors, especially Blickman Engineering, blickmanengineering.com, feedback@blickmanengineering.com. Tell John Blickman that you appreciate he pays for the show. Otherwise he may stop, and then where will we be? Nowhere. Same thing for Brew Chatter. Good folks, if you're ever out there, stop by. You can order stuff from them on the web too. They have great customer service. They're on top of things. You're only going to get fresh stuff, and they're going to get it to you quick, and they're going to take care of you. So check them out. Brewchatter.com, Josh and RJ. Tell them I sent you. Can't go wrong. Until then, everybody, brew strong.